Alright guys, let's talk about this. If you've been on the internet at all today, you've definitely seen this screenshot or this teaser from Shrek 5. And after looking at a bunch of people talking about it, reading a bunch of comments, I know I'm not alone in saying I think this will just not look good. If the first time I saw this was not on like the official Shrek Twitter page that had a gold check next to it, I would have thought this was AI generated. Like each new character design just looks just a little bit off. Like I can look at each character and tell who they're supposed to be, but it just doesn't feel right. And there's a few main takeaways I have from this that I really just want to talk about. So first off, I want to say I think that DreamWorks is trying to go off of the Puss in Boots redesign because this is how Puss in Boots was designed in his first movie, and then this is how he looked in his second movie, which is probably my favorite DreamWorks movie ever. And this is a great redesign, and the style in the Puss in Boots movie made sense and all looked awesome. So they were probably trying to go that route with these, but just missed the mark terribly. Like especially Donkey, like I can tell that's supposed to be Donkey, but my God, he looks absolutely awful. Like I could maybe be swayed on Shrek's design, but Fiona and Donkey all just look terrible. And I will say the Felicia design kind of works for me because it's a brand new character with this new design being incorporated into it instead of being changed into it. And I'm also seeing people use the point of the animation is newer, so it's going to look different. We should have been expecting this. But I will then counter with the point of between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, there was over a decade that passed and animation changed a lot in that time. But the characters still look the same. Even when Andy looked older and looked different, we still weren't like, this is a completely different kid. We didn't have a completely different culture shock change in how the animation looked and how the characters looked. So the whole point of animation being newer isn't necessarily a good point in my opinion. And basically every single post that I'm seeing talking about Shrek 5 is saying that we just need to pull a Sonic the Hedgehog again. Because similar to this Shrek teaser, the first time that we saw this design for Sonic, we all absolutely hated it. And we hated it so much that they literally went in and changed the entire design of Sonic. And now there's 3 movies in this franchise because they changed the design. There never would have been 3 Sonic movies with this Sonic. I think there is definitely a chance of the court of public opinion swaying over time as we see more from the film. But if we're literally just seeing like 10 seconds of them on screen and we hate it this much and it just doesn't look that right, they have to do something about it. And I hate doing this as a fellow artist who just is like, these guys are doing their job. They're trying to do their best to modernize Shrek. They're doing their best, I'm sure, but it just really doesn't look right. And I can't get it out of my head how much it looks like AI generation to me. When AI generates something, it's usually something that's just a little bit off, and that's exactly how this feels. I'm also not feeling the Zendaya fatigue. I'm seeing people already getting mad that Zendaya is in this film in general. I saw a comment that literally said Zendaya is this generation's Chris Pratt, which I think is an absolute insult to Zendaya. She's a rising star. She's one of the biggest movie stars in the world. Let her get her voice acting bag. Who